Hey everyone, how you doing? It's your boy Shaheener coming at you with another episode of the Pokemon Babblers podcast. Of course, as always, joined by the co-host Bano over here. I got hit in the crossfire. But yeah, this is going to be for season 2. This is episode 11, and today we are going to be talking about Pokemon Ranger Shadows of Almia.
Blessed Shadows of Almia.
This is a game that I think that we are both kind of excited to talk about. I remember playing this game quite a bit and being quite fond of it. It came out on the Nintendo DS on March 20th, 2008. North America, November 10th, 2008. Australia, just a few days later on the 13th. And in Europe, it came out a week later from that, or 8 days later, I should say, November 21st, 2008. And then would also be re-released for the Wii U Virtual Console in 2016. And so before we get into all the extra stuff about it, what's your experience with Shadows of Almia?
I think I played it when it came out because I originally played Ranger. Maybe I played it in 2010. I'm not sure on the exact date, but I definitely played the first Ranger and then Shadows of Almia, and was like, this is just a completely different, better game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hands down, this is This is well, it's not like the Coliseum XD experience because those I have separate idea or memories for those games, but trying to think of it. I think it's the main series to the finished version, from Ruby and Sapphire to Emerald. It's very clear which one is the better game.
Yeah. Oh, of course. And yeah, that I feel the exact same way on that one. I feel like that it was the first Ranger game was just them getting their bearings and just understanding okay, what are we doing here? This is a new one, so of course there's going to be obvious flaws and stuff. But then in the second one, that they're just okay, we know what we're doing. We know what we did wrong. Here's how we can improve it. And especially since people were buying the first game, that they probably had more of a budget and more people to work on the game too. So they're not completely just, I don't know, recreating the same experience. That they made something pretty new. It's still still familiar but new.
Right.
Yeah. And so this game was, it wasn't a co-developed game. It was developed solely by Creatures Inc. from what I could see. And I mean, the gameplay is still the same as before, so it's still you're using the capture styler to catch Pokemon by spinning circles around them, and you are playing as as the title says, a Pokemon Ranger. And it shows other roles in this game too that other characters could be a part of, which I think was kind of cool. That it's not so one-sided of oh, everybody becomes a ranger. It's no, there's more things to it.
This one fleshed out the Ranger Association more so than the first one did, because the first one, it made it seem like everybody was a ranger. If you wanted to be a part of the association, you were legit had to be a ranger because that's all you encountered.
Exactly.
This one, it kind of opens it up more, and they don't really go into detail of it, but they could explain after the first thing, the Rangers got I don't want to say more funding, but each region invested more, because it's still the Fiore or no, it's the Almia region.
Yeah, it's Almia for this one. Fiore was the first one.
Yeah, so maybe Almia reinvested in their Ranger program, and so there's a lot more funding.
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
But there are quite a bit of references to the Fiore region as well, and I think that once we talk about the plot, then we'll mention Fiore just a little bit. But yeah, there's a number of references to it. But yeah, the new region, as Bonner just mentioned, is Almia. And the main character is either going to be Kellen or Kate, depending on if you pick the male or female character. So the game is primarily Generation 4 Pokemon. There are some other Pokemon that do show up here and there. And there's a lot more options for your starter instead of just either Plusle or Minun. Is that you could go into any of the Sinnoh starters, that there's Munchlax, Kricketot, Mime Jr., the fossil Pokemon, aka Cranidos or Shieldon, Croagunk, Machop, Pachirisu, Starly, Hippopotas, Snover, Misdreavus, Sneasel, and Gibble. A lot more options than Plusle Minun. Or sorry, those are partner Pokemon. It might not be your starter, but your partner Pokemon. And the evil team in this game is, I don't know why, the spin-off games seem to have weird names for characters and weird organizations, but Team Dim Sum is the organization for this, the evil organization for this game. Yeah, there are 60 Ranger quests in the game as well, which are optional non-story based missions that you could do on top of the story mission. So quite a bit of content in here too. There are also the RangerNet stuff from the last game, but unfortunately you can't get the Manaphy egg in this one. Those those missions, it doesn't allow you to do the mystery gift stuff, unfortunately. I think you could do the missions if I'm not mistaken, but you can't do the transfer. That's only the original Ranger.
Yeah, and I don't think your starter Pokemon, quote unquote, really makes a difference overall in like the overall story of the game.
Mm-mm.
It really is just like which one you pick gives you like an advantage like in the earlier stages. Like if you know the story, you probably can like get a faster time by picking, I don't know, Piplup or something. But overall, it's really just like whatever, which is kind of a shame that, you know, like your partner Pokemon really doesn't play like a part. I don't even think they're like mainly a character. This game focuses so much more so on the people than it does the Pokemon. I mean, except for like the overall plot.
The people.
The people.
Yeah, so there's basically like 256 Pokemon, I believe, in the game, at least in the main game of it. And once you catch all of those, or you acquire all of them, then you're able to acquire the last Pokemon, which is Regigigas. And that is, I believe, found in the Hippowdon Temple. Let's see. And then there are some Pokemon as well that are rideable in the overworld. Kind of reminds me of like X and Y, where they had like the rideable Rhyhorn, or what was it? Was it a Abomasnow, I think?
Oh, no, it's Mamoswine.
Mamoswine, yeah, right. And so Doduo, Torkoal, Empoleon, Staraptor, and Floatzel are all Pokemon that are rideable in the overworld, basically, or in the world.
I think Doduo is kind of like your
Fast.
your run. Yeah, your run Torkoal. I guess you could like walk on lava.
Mm-hmm.
Empoleon I know has to do with the ice, like breaking the ice. Icebergs, Staraptor is like flying, obviously, and then Floatzel I think is just your generic surf Pokemon.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, just trying to emphasize more of the Gen 4 stuff. Although it is good that they still gave love to Gen 3 and Gen 1 with the first two. Yeah, and so there is a place like a training area, or I guess it's more of like, I mean, in a way, like when I was reading about it, because I don't remember ever doing the capture arena when I was playing it, but it almost felt like a battle facility in a way, was the capture arena, where you basically test your capturing skills against a bunch of different Pokemon, and there's like a bunch of different like tournament, or like there's different like levels and Pokemon to acquire, and it gets more difficult as you go through. Yeah, so it almost seems like a battle facility to me.
Do you know if there are any Pokemon specific to the capture area? Like you have, like they only exist there, and that counts towards the 256.
I don't think that if you catch them there, then it's considered as a capture in your Ranger decks. I mean, I could be totally wrong on that. But also, just a couple random factoids as well before we get into the plot. So this is actually the first Pokemon game ever that they use the term evolution, because that was always just a fan term beforehand, but this is the first one that actually used it in a licensed Pokemon game. And yeah, also in one of the missions, if you fail to stop the sinking of the cargo ship, this is the first instance where a player and a Pokemon die in a Pokemon game. Like, yeah, you might hear about like dead Pokemon like in Pokemon Tower and Lavender, but no, this is the first one where you actually kick the dust.
Yeah, I think there's like a timer and everything. It's like a whole thing.
Yeah. So, yeah, Pokemon death. No. This is also the only Ranger game where the opposite character is not shown in the game. So, like, if you play as Kellen, then Kate won't show up, or vice versa. So, like, all the other ones, like, yeah. So, like, even, like, in, like, Gen 3 and Ruby and Sapphire, if you pick Brendan, then May will show up, and vice versa. But, yeah, so I don't really have much else to add onto the game. It's, like, it's just a very well thought out, like, in terms of gameplay. It's way better than the first one. And then the plot, I think, is a little bit more interesting, too. Especially since now they know what the Ranger world is about. They could just, like we talked about,
you're more of a character in this game than you are in the last one.
Mm-hmm.
And the last one, you kind of just felt like you were just there and it existing.
Plugged in.
This one definitely is like filling it out more and like giving you more personal stakes to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like it goes without saying that, or no, it doesn't go without saying, but like I think this one has come in more into the limelight, obviously with the being re-released on the Virtual Console, but also just due to like Pokemon fans. I think like the biggest one was what's her face, Jaden Animation, like made an entire video on Shadows of Almia,
right?
And like literally brought like tons of more people into like the Ranger aspect, and I'm pretty sure all of them played Shadows of Almia or gave it a shot and realized like, wow, this game was really good. What happened to the Ranger series? And then they played Guardian Signs and realized, oh, that's what happened.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, and Guardian Signs isn't too far out for us to talk about, I think. I don't remember what episode number it's going to be, but
Right.
let's see. Guardian Signs is going to be episode 13, so in a couple episodes we'll be talking about that one. And
Yeah, so it's like they nailed it with this one, and it's kind of like where did they go from here? And then they did Guardian Signs, and that was not the way to go. So ever since that, it's kind of been like just left by the wayside. Like, you know, I don't think anybody's clamoring for a Ranger game. I would appreciate one, but it really kind of just has to be like done right. I think it literally just has to be like Shadows of Almia to give us a character, give us characters to care about, give us stakes, obviously like the sinking ship. No more of this like kitty frou-frou, like, you know, oh, we're gonna control Pokemon with you know, like the last four, whatever, the rhythm people, those fucking those bozos, my bad.
Bozos.
Those bozos. We need like a Team Rocket, because like, or like, you know, I just played over and over again. Gen 1 alert, Gen 1 what do you call it, rant incoming. But like, you know, we need there, obviously the potential of Pokemon is like extremely vast, because you have Pokemon involved in like construction and deconstruction, and literally can fly and breathe fire and burn an entire city down like the Gyarados thing if they want. And it's just like, you know, as much as the Pokemon Company wants to paint everything in a world light where, hey, Pokemon have free healthcare, nobody goes hungry, homeless people, what are those? We don't have those. It's just it doesn't give you that realism. And I get that, you know, we want to keep it kid friendly so that parents don't get upset that what their kids are buying. But as the years go on, and, you know, we get a lot of these parents who are just like, oh, here's an iPad, do whatever, you know, don't bother me, parents, because I see those a lot. I just feel like there's the Pokemon games can grow up, or at least give us like a Ranger game with more stakes than, you know, oh no, what's, you know, there's a boy trapped in the well.
Okay, boomer. God damn, kids these days and their iPads. And kids these days. Not like we didn't have Game Boys growing up that they kept us occupied with. Not like we didn't have TV shows to just sit us in front of it, so that way, like, it's not like
but I couldn't look up Pornhub on my Game Boy. I could only play Pokemon or fucking Bionic Commando or Tetris.
Well, first of all, through God, all things are possible. Let's jot that down.
Yeah,
I'm sure that somebody would probably like be able to inject some content. Let's say
in 2001. In 2001, I'm 100% sure they could do that. No.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, freaking Wolf Den put the whole Morbius movie on Game Boy Advance cartridges, so I mean, anything's possible.
In the year 2021, Alex?
That's true.
I'm talking about back then.
Yeah, but I still don't think that they'd ever do that, where it's like a grittier, like,
it does. I'm not asking
not
for blood and gore.
No,
I'm just asking for
like anything that's more than like surface value, like everything's happy and wonderful. Like, they're not gonna. I don't think they're gonna do that. Like, there'd be mild conflict. Think like Kiki's Delivery Service. There's mild conflict, but it gets resolved very easily, and it's very obviously like not an issue.
I mean, like, give me like the suspense of danger. Like, put like, you know, basically kind of like Ruby and Sapphire, but not as like, you know, we don't see those ramifications. We don't see, like, we see the rain and we're told it's bad, but we're not exactly shown anything. We're not shown like, you know, you can show me houses being filled with water and people escaping. That's fine. Like, oh, they'll rebuild, whatever. But show me that there are stakes is what I'm asking for.
What kind of stakes?
What kind of... Oh, medium rare, ribeye, porterhouse, béarnaise sauce.
Maybe a steak au poivre?
No, I don't want a steak au poivre because, you know, some dude cuts his finger once and then we never do it again.
Hey, that was just on a shallot. That wasn't on the actual steak.
Some guy cuts his finger once and we don't do it again. But anyway, we'll go ahead and start getting on to the plot, what makes this really good. And if you are in any way interested in this game, whether you watch Jaden Animations or you're watching this right now,
play it.
Like, play it first. Don't stand here and listen to us ramble for a couple minutes. Come back to like the very end of the video where we can talk about it later. But like this is kind of like, I didn't think about it when we were talking about Explorers of Sky and Darkness, but I really feel like I should be like, hey, like, this is a game that's worth your time. You should 100% play it. don't sit here and listen to this video and spoil everything. Go, actually and carve out some time and play it. This game's not very long. Takes you like maybe 20, 24 hours, I think. Something like that.
Just play it 24 hours straight. Yeah, forget all responsibilities you have. Just sit down on your DS, go cross-eyed, and play this fucking game.
Right, burn a hole in your DS or your PC or however you're going to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it might, I don't know if it's easier to play it on PC than it would be on the DS.
I think it'd be, using a mouse and keyboard to play a DS game just seems tough for me. Like, I wouldn't want to do that. I'd rather play on original hardware or at least a Wii U gamepad. Like, something with a stylus. I'd much rather do that than... Yeah.
Maybe we could add like a short or something where we just boot up an emulator and try to do a capture with the mouse and see how fast it is.
You know what? Yeah, let's do that after this episode. After the recording, let's do that.
Yeah, I feel like it should be easier, especially if you're like really good at mouse control. But who knows? Maybe I'm terribly wrong, and the emulator like throws it off the screen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that it'd run well, but it'd just be really jank to like use a mouse and just kind of like move around. Okay, so we are going to be testing out Rangers Shadows of Almia on an emulator. I, of course, have the original game, which I could probably pull up right now. Okay, Shadows of Almia, Nintendo, don't sue.
Yeah, look at the graphics. Look at those clouds.
Right? So, new game.
JPEG-ass clouds.
And...
Let's do... Oh, wait, Kate. Let's do Kate. Oh, well, never mind.
You want to do Kate?
No. We're already on Kellen.
No.
We're doing Kate? All right.
Yeah.
We gave Kellen too much love in the video.
Yeah,
we gotta do Kate.
Exactly. New game, and we are Kate this time. Hell yeah, let's go.
That's a little too big for Pokemon Sprite. You gotta get a little smaller.
Right? Yeah, way smaller.
Yeah.
Oh,
well, there you go.
That's good. Draw loops around. Oh god, this is awkward.
Is it?
Yeah, this is. I don't like this.
Okay, there you go.
Ah, shit. No,
I completely forgot about the little bar.
Jank. This is hella jank. I don't like this. Yeah, this made me uncomfortable.
Is there another? I think there's another one, isn't there?
Is there?
Or is it just that one? No, it's just that one.
Yeah. Now part of our secret army, inscrutable team school. Yeah, I didn't like it. I didn't like it. I would not play this on an emulator. I would play this on original hardware, no question.
Okay. Well, that's solved.
That's that.
Anyway, last warning: if you want to experience this game and you think it might be interesting, because it is interesting, it's very good. Get out.
Spoiler alert.
Come back later. See this little dot on the video that you see right here? Scroll it all the way to the end.
Yeah.
And then just see where our scores come up.
Yeah, basically. So the game is going to be starting up when the character is finishing up Ranger School. And so Kellen, we're just going to say Kellen just because we're guys and we are just going to use Kellen. I don't know. Instead of saying Kellen/Kate or just the character, let's just say Kellen.
The protagonist.
Yeah, the protagonist. Kellen makes friends with Rhythmy, who wants to be a ranger operator.
Which is a new introduction thing where they basically are like a 911 call center operator.
Like a dispatcher.
Yeah, dispatcher. There you go.
Yeah. And then Keith, who is the rival, who wants to be a top ranger, who's like basically a cream of the crop. Like they go above and beyond, and they're kind of like superheroes basically.
Which I'm not sure was introduced in the first one, but I definitely think it was like introduced in the Manaphy movie because that dude, when they reference that guy as like a top ranger like the whole time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they even do like a little montage showcase of him capturing like Zapdos to show like, oh, this guy means business.
Yeah, he means business. He catches a chicken.
Right.
Anyway, so Kellen and Keith graduate with honors after defeating two Tangrowth that escaped from the basement of the graduation ceremony.
You didn't mention Isaac?
Isaac.
There's a fourth friend who wants to become a researcher.
Oh, gotcha. I totally forgot about Isaac. Yeah.
I don't know if it's Isaac or something, but it's something with an I, and he has a sister, and he wants to be a researcher for the Ranger Association, which I believe is also introduced in this game as well. That they're like Almia it's either home to the Ranger HQ or that they have a Ranger HQ in Almia that you go and visit, and they employ all certain types of people: rangers, operators, researchers, the works.
Let me see, because I don't think that it was part of like the synopsis on Bulbapedia, but let me just double check. Maybe I totally just skipped that part with whatever that character's name is. Let's see.
Because he does play like a role in the game.
Okay, so yeah, Isaac apparently exists, and it wasn't shown at all in the plot run through on the Bulbapedia page. So yeah,
Which
Isaac.
I
Yeah.
find a little bit interesting, and they really should update that.
Mm-hmm.
Bulbapedia, if you're watching,
Yeah.
you know.
You know,
Anyway, so
we
you
could
get
add it in
introduced to
there.
your group of friends with your character, Rhythmy, who's a girl who wants to be an operator, Keith, who wants to be your rival and is your top ranger, and then Isaac, who wants to be a researcher for the ranger organization and help out because he's being raised by his grandparents who are also taking care of his younger sister Melody. So he wants to, he has that drive to be a not necessarily bread earner, but he wants to build a better life for him and his family and his sister.
Mm-hmm.
And so you all have little fun adventures at Ranger School. You get a neato little outfit. You get basically walk through the tutorial, and then like you said, you and Keith graduate with honors after defeating two Tangrowth, who are very aggressive and escape the basement of their graduation ceremony. But before that ceremony happens, you also have to do like a test of courage, which is like I don't want to say necessarily Japanese thing because kids do stuff all the time, but like that's just like a trope that they have in manga and anime, where children go and like in the dark or at night go visit spooky areas and like grab something from the area and come back and prove to everybody that they aren't aren't a scaredy cat.
They're not
And
afraid.
you do that, but you go to the basement and you see one of the teachers, Mr. Kincaid, working with Isaac in the middle of the night, working on a secret project, and Mr. Kincaid gets very angry and kicks you guys out of the basement. Like damn kids, But there's also like a subtle nod to like they didn't enter my lab underneath in the basement kind of thing.
Right. And yeah, so basically from the graduation ceremony, at least right after that, Keith and Rhythmy are sent to the Fiore region, aka the first Ranger game, and Kellen is sent to Almia. So Kellen and his family relocate to a nearby town called Chicole Village, so that way they could all be close to each other, and that way that's like your hub, at least where you go back to each day. So Kellen becomes an area ranger in a place called Vien Town, and then in a cave with unusually aggressive Pokemon, he finds a machine that appears to be controlling these Pokemon, which we find out later is called a Gigarimo. So yeah, it was controlling some Pokemon in a cave, and they were just being unusually aggressive, and it basically it was your thing to your obligation to stop them, basically.
It's a really weird device too. It's like if somebody set up like a tripod and like it was just like broadcasting this weird signal. Mm-hmm. It seems like a really poor device to me, like a poorly designed device.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but
which
they'll
plays into the plot
better.
later. Yeah, they'll get better, which plays into the plot.
Yeah, so at least as a basic one, just to introduce you to like, hey, there's weird stuff going on in Almia. Mm-hmm. So after proving his worth by taking care of a forest fire, that Kellen is allowed to travel to Puel Town.
Once again, one of the reasons this game has is better because it actually has stakes. Like this forest fire is like, it's not super dangerous. Like you're not seeing anything like vivid, but seeing a forest burn down really kind of like drives home like, oh man, like this is like something terrible that needs to be stopped. Which eventually you do. I think it's what Blastoise or
I think it's Blastoise. Pretty sure.
Is it? No, I think it's Ludicolo, isn't it?
Forest
Recycled
fire.
assets.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was a Blastoise. Yeah, that's right.
So
yeah,
maybe in the other one it was Ludicolo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's Blastoise that used Rain Dance to help stop the forest fire. And then a few days later, a mission is set to find the team leader Barlow, who went missing inside a Boyland volcano. He's doing some research in there. Mm-hmm. And in the volcano, Kellen finds Team Dim Sum deploying a new mini Remo device to control Pokemon on the island. And he then finds out that Barlow's been captured and placed on a ship with some other Pokemon. Basically just kidnapping this guy. He's just a kid, basically.
Right.
And so, Barlow's found, and along with Kellen, succeed in a conflict against Team Dim Sum's leader, Mr. Kincaid, or Kincaid, I'm not sure. Whoa. Which causes him to abandon the island.
So yeah, he says synopsis kind of skipped over a lot, but yeah, essentially you do like a couple missions here and there. You encounter more like get a mini Remo. Obviously, like the progression of the technology has gotten better, so they're able to control more Pokemon in a wider area and whatnot. And you just have to like navigate your way through it. It's also kind of funny when the grunts like try to fight you. Is like they drop down or whatever, and then like they send out their one Pokemon. And it's like, okay, am I stealing their Pokemon or like what's happening?
Yeah, exactly.
Because they're like, group of Makuhita attack or group of whatever attack, and it's like, are these wild Pokemon? Why are they listening to you? But whatever.
Okay, and so realizing the severity of Team Dim Sum, the Ranger Union promotes Kellen to top Ranger.
Hey.
And Keith and Rhythmy were also promoted to the top of their class as well. So
I think you also get like mail from Keith talking about like what he ended up doing in Fiore or like what was going on, which is what like you see like newspaper articles and it shows Keith like like is in the headline, which I think is a nice nod and nice to see how they're doing.
Yeah, so it's not just like it isn't just about you. Like there's more characters going on, and you have friends that like still think about you and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah. So the first mission as a top ranger is to help another top ranger named Sven investigate Team Dim Sum headed mining operation in the Chroma ruins. And it's discovered from there that they're searching for dark crystals to power up their Giga Remote devices. And Sven plays a pretty big part in the game too.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely a lot of moments with Sven, especially like right at the end of the game too.
Right.
So, after defeating a spear tomb, a massive hole is discovered that was left after removing what is called the Shadow Crystal, which
is like a huge crystal compared to the smaller ones that they've been mining.
Exactly. So this one like draws the most power and everything too, but that Shadow Crystal is missing, and it's so it is then found out that to neutralize this crystal, it can be done by a mixture of red, blue, and yellow crystals or shards. And those shards are found in 3 different locations. They're found in Boyle Volcano, Almia Castle, and Hippowdon Castle. And the latter of which is where you find Regigigas at the end of the game. And so after the first 2 shards are found, Keith is captured by Team Dim Sum, who uses him to blackmail Kellen into giving them the yellow shard.
Right, because they want to destroy. I don't know if they want to destroy it or keep it from stopping their plans. I'm not entirely sure. But the mission to get the shards is actually pretty cool. I believe there's like I don't think it's a legendary at each one of them, or it's like some boss. Because I think the Lucario is the one at the blue shard, right?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Or the castle area, wherever that is. I don't remember much about the volcano, but I do remember the yellow shard playing like a point.
Wasn't it Heatran?
It could have been Heatran. That might have been like there after the story, though.
Yeah, let me just double check too.
There's also a character that's missing from the synopsis, that being the professor from the previous game. Was it Professor Hastings?
I think so. Hastings sounds very familiar.
Yeah, Professor Hastings is the guy who created the styler. Let me look that up to make sure we're not losing.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Hastings that made the styler, and I'm pretty sure it was Heatran that was at the volcano.
Yes, it is Professor Hastings. The archive managed to pull that out of nowhere. So yeah, Professor Hastings is also at the Ranger HQ, and a lot of this like research and like stuff to do the missions is done both between him, Sven, and Rhythmy. Kind of making Rhythmy a part of the thing. And then also, I think the yellow crystal was Keith's mission. I'm not entirely sure. I think that's what happens. Like, let's do a split up. You go after that one. Something happens with the middle one, so you have to go there. And then you get the report that you go to investigate the yellow shard, and that's when you find out they kidnapped Keith and all that stuff.
Exactly.
So a lot of carrying people on your back here.
Exactly. You really are a hiker at this point. You're just backpacking everyone.
Right.
Yeah. So, in the meantime, Sven infiltrates Team Dim Sum's underwater lair, and steals plans for an incredible machine, which turns out to be that a company that wasn't established prior, All True Inc.
I think it is established prior, but that's I think
at least for the plot, like at least when I was reading through Bulbapedia, it wasn't like shown. I'm pretty sure that they had it at some point in the game. It's been so long since they played this game, so
I think the company's established, and I think Isaac wants to work for that company. I think like that's his like end goal is to work for that company, And when you infiltrate the underwater base, you actually like are going through some of the rooms, and you actually find Isaac in that room, and he's all like, "Oh, hey, like, what are you doing?" And you're like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm working on just projects here, to just building up my resume." And you're just like hands-on head guy, like,
Yeah,
like
about
you're
that.
you're making weapons of mass destruction. And he's like, "What? No, they told me I was making, this and yada yada yada." And as it turns out, he's being is it gullible
Yeah,
about
yeah,
or
basically.
ignorant.
Oh,
I
yeah,
don't know. Like,
it's blissful ignorance.
yeah, Isaac is like a genius and is like really working on like all this technology that probably could be helpful, but in reality, like I think it's what's it called, the All True Company, and then obviously Team Dim Sum are
Yeah.
like manipulating his stuff to do to forward their evil goals. But anyway, you rescue Isaac from the underwater base as well and get him out of there.
And it turns out that All True Inc.'s tower is actually a giant Gigarimo device that is powered by the Shadow Crystal and has been run by Team Dim Sum. Dun dun dun. Like,
Right.
oh, yeah. Uh, Basically, so at that point, you're equipped with a special styler that could override Gigarimo's influence.
I
And
think that's a code developed by Isaac and Professor Hastings. Like he uses, they go and do that.
yeah, exactly. So they make that specifically for this purpose. This is a plot device, literally. And so Kellen's able to deactivate the tower's force field and recovers the yellow shard. But before the other Rangers could reach the Shadow Crystal, All True's president, Blake Hall, I can't believe they actually gave him a last name. They rarely give people last names in this game, or at least a full
Right.
name. Yeah, so Blake Hall charges a crystal to max power and summons Darkrai. And Darkrai goes insane from the power overload and attacks Blake, and darkens the area, prevents the Rangers from approaching the crystal. But by using the shards that you acquire, the red, blue, and yellow shards, into your styler, Kellen is able to stop Darkrai and converts the Shadow Crystal to a Luminous Crystal,
Right.
and basically saves the day.
Right. And everybody has like a happy ending. You and Keith stay top rangers. Rhythmy is now like your guys' not your personal operator, but like your go-to operator. And because of the ingenuity that Isaac showed helping Professor Hastings make that super styler, I think it's called the super styler. It's kind of like laid the groundwork that Isaac, if things continued, Isaac would be the next Professor Hastings, or the next professor for the Rangers going forward.
Or actually, no, but then the alternate ending is that he got arrested for his crimes at All True Inc., and so
Right.
he never got to see the light of day again.
He was doing insider trading.
Yeah, exactly. And so he was like, "Oh, I didn't know this," but he was actually behind the whole thing.
I can't remember exactly, but I do think they also kidnap Melody, and they force Isaac to like finish the device. And so it's kind of like he's like forced into that. So that's also like a part of the ending is whatnot. But yeah, overall this covered like the very key points, but there's so much more to the
Oh,
game.
yeah.
There's so many more side quests that have like super funny things. Like I think there's a guy that wants to smell what a muck smells like or something like that, like or a Garbodor or something, or no, not Garbodor, but like
Yeah.
a poison type. And so you have to bring him like every poison type in the game. There's also one to get like all the evolutions, and like one thing I think that's also the quest that introduces that term is like you have to get every single one, and they're spread like everywhere. And I'm not sure, but I think you have to get them in a specific order because you have to use certain Pokemon to get to them. So it's like a really, really like drawn out quest just to get them all.
Yeah, and it's I mean, yeah, it's like we only like just it seemed like that we just went through this super quick, but no, there's so much charm to this game. Like, I mean, yeah, maybe the dialogue isn't like it's not Shakespearean or anything, but it's
Right.
like it's very well written. The characters are enjoyable, and it's just like
Right.
the gameplay itself is just so fantastic. It's
Right.
hard to yeah.
They're no Nimona, Penny, and Arvin, but they're definitely leagues above,
Like whatever
Dawn,
generic
May.
character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely more so than the X and Y friend group. I'll tell you that
Oh my
much.
gosh, the most generic ass characters ever.
Right.
Yeah.
We give Black and White a lot of credit, but like Hugh is a one note I'm angry character, and then N is like probably like the only interesting one, but he's just him.
Yeah, really.
So,
yeah,
yeah.
it's really and like Hugh was really one-sided. Like it's just like oh, my sister, her Pokemon is kidnapped by Team Plasma. It's like, okay.
My rage knows no bounds.
Yeah, but N has a lot of nuance to him too. A
Right.
very conflicted character. But
Right.
yeah, the characters in here are great. Like the gameplay is fantastic, and it really, like we've said before, it just really adds on in a good way to the original Ranger. And yeah, it might not be perfect, but it's probably the best Ranger game out of the three that they released. And honestly, though, if they could put out a Ranger game on a home console, that would be really cool. Because I mean, if we could get, well, I mean, actually, no, we haven't even gotten a mystery. Well, we got the Mystery Dungeon remake on Switch.
Right.
Yeah, and we've got a couple other spin-offs on there. Like we got Detective Pikachu Returns on Switch. So
Right, Legends Arceus.
Yeah, Legends Arceus is the main series. But yeah, it's like why can't we get a Ranger game on home console?
Right.
Like I don't understand that. I mean, but also it's been so long since Ranger had any kind of games. So announcing one would be like, first of all, why? But second of all, like the nerds like us will be like, woo!
Yeah. It's for me, a new Ranger game has to have like solid catching mechanics for sure. Because that's like the whole mainstay. If it's not fun, you're not gonna play it. And like character writing, those are like the big two that like I absolutely need for a Ranger game to like be successful.
Yeah, yeah, just like decent writing. Doesn't have to be like great writing, but just decent writing. Something that just doesn't make you like, oh, this shit again.
Right.
And like it can't be like so monotonous. Like there's some games that I've played, like spin-off games, where they're just like, okay, I do this, I do this, I do this for like 20 hours and the game ends. But
Right.
like
I feel like
something
that's
to
the
keep
original
you-
Ranger. Like
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh, I'm going here, I'm going here, I'm going here, and then in this game it's all like, oh, dude, Keith did this, well I gotta one up him on that, and then like, oh, Isaac, what are you doing here? Oh, you creating weapons of mass destruction? Oh man, we gotta get you out of here. You know, oh my god, Darkrai's gonna like black out the sun and like cause every Pokemon to go crazy in the region. You know that we gotta stop that. And then also just like the the interesting stuff with like the Hippowdon Temple, the castle, and stuff like that. I really wish they went more into that stuff like that, kind of like
more like the
not dark-
ancient lore.
yeah, not Darkest Day stuff because that was just it's like sleeping, but more so
Yeah.
like the history class from Scarlet and Violet where they talk about the kingdom and then the ruinous Pokemon and stuff like that. That stuff made me like I was because you finish Scarlet and Violet and you're like, oh, I might as well do the classes, right? Every single one of them, aside from the history class, is just boring as hell.
Yeah, yeah, the history class is really cool.
Right.
I wish they had more stuff like that, but I feel like if they were to do a game where it's like, oh yeah, you're in Ranger School, then it's like it's just gonna kind of copy Scarlet and Violet in a way, or it's gonna feel too much of a parallel to it.
Right.
Where I think that they have to present it in a different way, where it's like, oh yeah, you're not just in Ranger School, it's like you're learning these things, like you're going to like an ancient library, like
Maybe like a frontier kind of thing, like less Ranger School, more hey, you want to be a volunteer ranger, you go through like that, and then if you make the cut, then you become a ranger, and you explore like more of a desolate region, kind of like Ore.
yeah.
Like where there's you go and investigate like Pokemon sites and whatnot. You're not necessarily like setting up shop everywhere, but you're more just like exploring the region.
Yeah.
Maybe like kind of like a Monster Hunter World kind of thing, where like they dispatch a group to this new area to like for the goals of like exploring, and then as you explore, there's like some natural disaster, be it Groudon waking up or like a meteor like Deoxys kind of situation.
Or how about a Ranger game based in Ore?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
I'd like to see a vibrant Ore, what it would look like, how Pokemon would have changed and stuff like that. But
Exactly.
I
And
think,
what caused all of that stuff to happen, where it's like just because
Yeah.
of desolate wasteland.
I think like that would be a nice story plot, like an exploring Ranger game. Not necessarily there doesn't have to necessarily be an evil team, but there definitely has to, kind of like a mystery dungeon. Like there's some natural disaster that's like coming or that is like dangerous to your group that you have to solve. And
Exactly.
so Detective Pikachu and the Scarlet and Violet kids come together, and we have like this multiverse, Ranger game.
The Pokeverse.
Yeah, the Pokeverse that we market off to kids, and we have 9 films
Yeah.
and 32 video games.
I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're good?
I would jump ship if they started doing stuff like that. I would jump ship.
Oh, so you're gonna stay on the ship, and the ship's and you're gonna crash, and you're gonna.
No,
you
I'm
know...
gonna be the first character that dies in a Pokemon game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna fail.
You're going down with the ship.
I'm failing. I'm failing the cargo ship mission.
You're failing the cargo ship mission. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we went over a couple things. It's hard to remember because it's been a while since I played Shadows of Almia, but I do remember like enjoying the progression of like the stylus, like getting it to level 10. I think there's also like a separate level up for like the types, if I'm not mistaken. Like for the types that your styler does or something like that. Like you get more, like dark level 3 or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, like there's progression there. Obviously there's like the Pokedex, there's like all the side missions and stuff. Like it increases like your ranger rank and whatnot, which is cool. With also like you get, I don't think you could take, I can't remember, but I think it might be an important, like something I wanted where like you can't progress the main story until you reach like a certain ranger rank. Like you just can't, do that. And stuff like that. Yeah. But it's really good. The story is excellent. The characters are serviceable. The evil team has a slapping theme. Every time that theme came on, I was all like, jigging in my chair because it was fun. But yeah, honestly, I Guardian Signs, I don't think I gave it a fair shake. I don't even think I bought it. I think it's because it was at a time where I was like, I've read, I went online. It's kind of like the beginning of me like, hey, is this game even any good? Instead of just buying it and then realizing it was dog and not getting mad. Yeah. And people were just like, nah, it's not worth it. Play Almia again.
And so, what would you give it a rating of?
Depends. Are we giving it a rating as a game or as a Ranger game, or do you want to do both? Because as a game overall, I think it's
as a game
on
overall.
The lower end. As a game on the overall, 6 out of 10. It's barely above average.
Yeah, I would give it a 7. Okay. I enjoyed this one quite a bit. It's probably my favorite of the 3, but I mean, this is the one that I really truly played. I mean, I'll definitely be playing Ranger pretty soon. But Shadows of Almia, I did enjoy quite a bit, and I would definitely go back and play it again for sure. Which I probably will too. Like once my big project stuff is all done, that's probably one of those games I'll be playing.
Right.
But
as a regular game, it's very shallow. It's one mechanic the entire game. Like I said, the characters are serviceable. The story is serviceable. It's not like terrible by any means, but it's just the one action the entire game. That's it. As a Pokemon game, with Pokemon in it and like factoring in you being a Pokemon fan, I'd say 8 out of 10.
Yeah, like as a Pokemon game for sure, definitely get higher ranks. I think as a game, like I could probably enjoy it, but for me, I always just look at it in the lens of a Pokemon fan. So it's like I'm kind of taking both things into consideration when I do that. I'd still give it a 7 and 10 regardless of like as a game or as a Pokemon game. It's like to me, it's like it's all the same.
Okay.
Yeah. And so that's pretty much it. So, yeah, thank you so much for listening, for watching. If you like what you saw, don't forget to subscribe. Let us know what you think in the comments.
Played it.
Yeah,
let us know if you played the game.
Yeah, let us know if you played it and if there's anything that we missed. Because God knows
we're wrong and our opinions are trash and this game was horrible.
That's perfectly fine too. Just let us know as long as you're honest about it. If you want to check out more Babblers, playlist is going to be in the description as well. And I've been doing a lot of streaming on Twitch, so if you want to hang out with Bano and I over there, link will also be down below, twitch.tv/Shaheener. And
check out the unboxing video, the newest one.
Yeah.
Oldest one by the time this one comes out.
Yeah, so there's some unboxing videos have been coming out, trading card videos, whatever, you know what it is. We out here.
Reaction videos.
No, I never. Reaction videos are stupid as fuck. Yeah, but thanks everybody for watching. We'll check you all in the...
when is this coming out?
I don't fucking know. November 20th.
Okay, as I say, hopefully you can watch our Scarlet and Violet comprehensive review by then. With the DLC.
It won't be out by then.
It'll be out by then. We'll see you guys next time.
Whatever. Bye.